the young guys are smart. There's no reason for them to be so hardworking if the pay is so low. There's no reason for them to be so gung-ho about pursuing women if they will only hear about what they don't have so that she can judge him harshly. And if that means no family, then no family, because to have a family isn't worth what it takes to even try. For what?
This is Black Mind saying the truth out loud. For a lot of young guys, the amount of work that it would take for them to be a viable guy in the dating market is simply not worth it. And then when you take a look at what the price actually would be, then that opens a whole different can of worms. And it's a problem that just is compounding on itself. I'll let Jet Black continue.
How do men start off owing so much when we're owed nothing at all, no matter what we deliver? This is how it got to the current situation in which men are not even making any approaches. And we already know women cannot. So what this might mean is the end of family in the West.
There's a risk that increased immigration and continued labor market tightness could lead to persistently high core services inflation. Given the current low inventory of affordable housing, the inflow of new immigrants in some geographic areas could result in upward pressure on rents as additional housing supply may take time to materialize. With labor markets remaining tight, wage growth has been elevated at around or above 4%, still higher than the pace consistent with our 2% inflation goal, given trend productivity growth. What role do you see illegal immigration playing in driving up housing costs, which of course is a main driver of inflation for American citizens?
Looking at the problem holistically, you can see that for young men that are looking to start families in the West, they're in a bit of a crucible because in the dating market, they're being asked to do more and more in order to be a viable male. And in the midst of all of that, you're hearing J.D. Vance, the maybe future vice president, we don't know yet, speak about all of the other things that are influencing not just dating, but the economy as a whole. It is in this market that guys are just acting differently.
So I heard about singles events, both online, then in real life. Men wouldn't show up. This is a good thing. It's a sign of something sad as hell, but there's a list of reasons that men shouldn't show up at these events. See, in a normal world, men will make the effort and there will be some give and take, so the efforts would have a reward too. Instead, as things are, there's none of that except the demand and the expectation that you make the effort, but the reward is completely gone. It gets up and it runs away from you.
You can see from the caption that this young lady is making a joke of not wanting to get pregnant during the summer. She starts the video with her fighting with her boyfriend, thinking that's a pregnancy test that's probably positive. And so she makes a quick run to the clinic. And then once she realizes she doesn't have enough money, she jumps back and gets the money from her boyfriend. And then she runs back to the clinic. That's not the part of this that actually surprised me, because I guess this is a 2024 joke. But there's something that's much more surprising when you look deeper.
I wonder, when you hear sort of your colleagues and other economists outside of the Fed talk about the influx of immigration and the fact that it, I think, admittedly has put downward pressure on wages. Okay, so obviously that has put some downward pressure on inflation, but it also puts downward pressure on the wages that people earn to pay for their families. Why do we see that as a good thing? Or maybe that's wrong. Maybe the premise is fundamentally incorrect, but why do so many economists treat an influx of new labor as a good thing? If labor is constrained, labor supply is constrained, doesn't that lead to rising wages for American workers?
I thought I'd never see a Planned Parenthood commercial. This is perfect marketing. Queen's just funny. Return to sender, same day shipping. 29 weeks pregnant, I approve this message. Me right now eating Chick-fil-A and a lemonade after swallowing a Plan B. Choose your queen. Straight to its maker. Give it back to God. I ain't ready. They should pay y'all money for this as a marketing video. Just showed this to my husband in case he's getting any ideas. Exactly what I like to see. Free shipping is crazy. Any wonder why guys aren't motivated to work hard to go after women and build families?
This is all happening over the last couple of years in a context of an extremely tight labor market. Now a little bit less tight, significantly less tight, but you've got a worker shortage. You've got businesses who have jobs that are open. You have, more than one job opening for every unemployed person. So you've got a very tight labor market, and it's addressing that. And we're having wage increases are still very high, but they're coming down to a more sustainable level.
Fair.
At the behest of BJ's Ipmore, Compassionate and Callous, and Jet Black, I felt it necessary to not only cover the conversation between Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaking with JD Vance, but also tie that into the modern day environment for a lot of young guys, because you can see it. And now JD Vance is going to bring it 360 degrees full circle.
I understand your point, Chair Powell. And again, I'm not ascribing value judgments to you, but if we say we have a really tight labor market and we say that there are more than one job openings per worker, there are two ways you could plausibly solve that, probably more than that, but two obvious ways you could plausibly solve that. One is through a new influx of workers via the immigration system. Another way is by raising wages and bringing some of the workers that are on the sidelines. I'm thinking specifically of the 7 million prime age men that have dropped out of the labor force. Like, why isn't that more the focus of policymakers rather than, you see a labor shortage, rather than bringing in a large number of new immigrants, why not try to boost wages in a way that brings some of those workers off the sidelines? That seems to be a much better focus from my perspective.
What's your question?
My name's Kenesha. My question is, what do you think about your spouse giving you 3 months to be with the love of your life and then come back to them?
What's going on in Baltimore?
What's interesting to me is that at the same time that 7, maybe 8 million guys have fallen out of the workforce, you also have Passport Bros, you have SOSBM, you have all kinds of variants of guys choosing to do non-traditional paths because they can't find what they're looking for in the dating market. You have brunches like this, which are becoming all the norm. Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, go to brunch and party. It's an interesting mix because what it shows is that there is a divergence happening. And part of the divergence is that guys just aren't finding wives. And if you looked at the TikTok, many guys aren't finding mothers either. The idea that motherhood could be so off-putting can't make a guy attracted to a young lady. It's impossible.
It's so hard for women to find a man that they're attracted to, I swear. Like, I used to settle, right? Like, in my early 20s, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna get the person who I look at and I wanna, like, rip their clothes off as soon as I look at them. Because, women are told that you have to look like an angel to get a moderately attractive man. If you're an average or ugly looking woman, well, baby, man gonna look like a jigsaw puzzle in the trash can.
There are times that I'm very grateful that I had a chance to date in the 90s and the 2000s, because when I dated when I was younger in high school or whatnot, there was a notion of love. But with social media and what we see now, young guys don't even get that. And the simple things that make guys work their hands off, their butts off, having a child that looks like them, having a woman that loves him because he's a good guy, he works hard, he has good character. We're slowly seeing those things fade away from the ether. And so when you hear JD Vance speak about how guys are dropping out of the workforce and it's kind of glossed over like, well, numbers here and this there. And then on the other side of it, you see brunches with nothing but women. It's just an indicator that wherever the direction is going for the two sexes is not a very good one. Because young ladies at some point, and especially some young ladies that are looking for love, are looking around and saying, why aren't the guys approaching me? And for the guys who never experienced love, the chances of them experiencing love in an environment where young ladies are bragging openly about taking Plan Bs with their lunch, that's not a very romantic notion, especially for guys that want to have a loving family with a loving wife. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. Catch you next video. Take care, guys.